Alright, so today I'm putting a diesel heater in a Great Aussie caravan. It's a 21'6" family van. Very limited amount of space because there's a lot of storage in there that they don't want to lose. So the fuel tank is going to sit somewhere on here, depending on how this box opens. We obviously don't want to open onto the fuel tank, so there's that. Going inside, I've just started and dropped the heater in. And again, super limited space. So in this cupboard here, under the couch, there is just enough room with the vent coming out through this panel here. So I've just carefully drilled the hole, moved aside some water pipes and whatever's down there, and it just fits. So from here, I'll be starting to put the stuff together underneath, and we'll see how it looks from there. So I like to think that I'm a bit of the master of tight spaces, and this one. Okay, I like to think I'm the master of tight spaces. That is as tight as it gets, in between two chassis rails, moved across some water pipes, and everything's dropped out. Now to tie it up. Alrighty, exhaust coming out, coming back up. We've got the air intake running to the rear there, the blue one, and the fuel pump and filter on the chassis rail there, running back across. I'm going to run the fuel line now and then run the power. Alright, so I've run the fuel hose all the way to the front here. That's it popping out there. To mount the fuel tank and the checker plate cover, what I normally do is get it set up with some Tech screws, then one by one remove the Tech screws, drill the hole out, put a nylock nut and a bolt through. So that's what's going to come next. Get it all bolted down, and then we Tech screw the other part of the cover on top of that. And there we go. All the Tech screws now replaced with the bolts with the nylock nuts. So you can see the footprint in here. Nuts and washers. Nylock because you don't want them to come free. And there you go. It's put on. The trick with getting these on is to make sure you don't do each nut up really tight on its own, but you do them up kind of loose enough to move the sheet metal around. That way you get a nice clean fit. And you've got to take the cap off before you put the cover on, otherwise it will not fit. There's the cover done. Going to hook it up to the fuel now, and then we'll do the electrics. Okay, once the fuel is all hooked up, what I like to do, I'm going to put a clamp on here just to keep this on the angle, but I'm going to disconnect it up here and I'm going to suck the fuel through manually until I see there's enough in the fuel filter to prime it. Just a bit quicker than priming it via the controller itself, and you get to know, just where the fuel's at. So that's the next step. So there you can see the fuel and the fuel filter. Pretty easy to do without sucking fuel into your mouth, so that's probably the best way to do it. Just keep an eye on the filter, get it half full, and then you're ready to go. Alright, so here's the power coming up from the heater. Get to tidy it up, put it straight back to the battery. We were hoping to put it on one of these terminals here, but couldn't seem to get any power from there. So I've hooked it up, given it a start, and after the first start, it's all up and running. There's the tank. So normally if you prime it through to the filter, it'll won't run on the first kickstart, but it'll run on the second. So there's the heater, you can hear it running. Run the cable up to here to the controller, and all working well. That's this job done once I've cleaned up.